tears. I just wanna kiss you and hold you. Take you to my place, candlelight dinner. Then I start massaging your shoulder.
Baby girl, let's just get out of here. Take a little flight. Let's get lost in love. Let's go. Ma, it's no problem to hold you, tongue stroke you, please you like I'm supposed to. Touch spots that ain't ever been touched, and I won't stop till both these squirrels get their nuts. Hey, you know it's good when we freakin', king size squeaking after I ease in. If you was with me, baby, 24/7, best believe that every single day would be a sweet day. Girl, you sweeter than a cheesecake. If you want beef, prophecy would be a beefcake. I make love to you till you fall asleep, leave you with sweet dreams between the sheets.
Was the night before that night. I was born on that day, but not last night. Once upon a time, I had my cash right. Plug called, he ain't act right. I'm far from a slow nigga in this fast life. Pulled up, I got low, hit the black light. Once upon a time, slimy niggas catch a bad night. When bad police die, they don't deserve bagpipes. Once upon a time, they need to feel with God raps like old soul. So folks feel me like a past light, a head buster. I'm shining bright as a mag light. Once upon a time, when will the government act right? Opinionated imbeciles just need.
What's good, everybody? It's your man Big Dom coming live at you, another TruPlayaz podcast episode. Just gonna talk about very disappointing end to my fellow Mets fans season that happened on Sunday. We got defeated by the Sandiegopadres, in which to make a long story short, the Sandiegopadres punked us in all different ways, all million different ways. To the point that our manager had to go to the umpire and check the pitcher for foreign substances. To the point they was checking his ears. That's how bad the San Diego Padres punked us in our own stadium. It's an 89 win team. But no, let's not get it twisted. This team is better than 89 wins. You saw their pitching, yudarvish, joemusgrove. Snell. You know, we got on them pretty good in game 2, but for the most part, a promising season ended in many disappointments that this franchise has had over the years, whether it was 1988, whether it was 2007, 2008, 2016, and now 2022 officially is ranked second of the most disappointing out of those I just mentioned before. Now, but before I jump into all of that, let's talk about some great news in both our New York football teams, the New York Jets and the New York Giants. All right, so let's talk about the New York Giants with a big come from behind win in London. They were down at halftime by 2 scores. Come from behind. An epic performance by their defense. They provided so much pressure on Aaron Rodgers at the end of the game. They batted the pass down to seal the victory. The score was 27-22 over there in London. Saquonbarkley, again, 106 yards of total offense for him, which included 13 carries for 70 yards and 3 receptions for 36 yards. And I'm telling you, this is Saquonbarkley. He's playing for that option. He's playing to get that options activated for him. And I think the Giants should do it. Either that or re-sign him to a contract, a cap-friendly contract, but he gets the money he wants. Anything is possible. There's those ways you could play around with the salary cap to enable that to happen and be able to build with more players for next season. You know, I can't even stop talking about the job that Brian Daboll has done in his first 5 games as head coach of the New York Giants. Changing that culture immediately. Has a game plan. He's coaching to his players, to the talents of his players. You know, that's what makes great coaches. The ability to coach and create game plans according to their players' strengths, not their weaknesses, or find plays to fit their system. That's a definition of a great coach, and we're seeing it here right now with Brian Daboll. They had one loss against the Cowboys, which the Cowboys is playing extraordinary football. You know, they beat the defending champion Rams yesterday as well. So, make a long story short, This is going to be a great division battle in the NFC East. You got the Eagles, you got the Giants, you got the Cowboys battling each other out. And I guarantee you, I believe there's only going to be 2 teams coming out of that division to be in the playoffs, and one's going to be left out. Daniel Jones had a high ankle sprain, gutty performance on his part. 21 out of 27, 211 yards, no TDs, but you know what? He played his gut. He played with some guts yesterday. He wasn't in his top physical shape. Even he was trying to scramble. He was still scrambling on that bad ankle, which is like I said, a gutsy performance on his part. He didn't turn the ball over. He didn't fumble it, and that's the big issue with Daniel Jones is his turnovers. If he's able to control his turnovers, he's gonna and mix the right plays. He's gonna be a good quarterback, not a great quarterback, a good quarterback. And I think Brian Daboll is like the coach he is putting a system together around the talents of Daniel Jones, which is a great thing. The Giants are now 4-1. They come back home for next week against the Ravens. A tough matchup against the Ravens because of Lamar Jackson, his ability to scramble out of the pocket and run for yards. And also the defense is pretty strong over there in Baltimore still. But we're going to see what happens next week as far as the Giants goes. It's something for me to look forward to after a disappointing exit by my team in the baseball wise, which I expected high expectations. But on that note, let's switch over to New York Jets. All the Zackwilson big fans are ecstatic right now. Their boy is 2-0. Got to give credit where credit is due. This guy came in there after injuring his knee. Maybe him injuring his knee and missing a few games during the regular season was a blessing in disguise. Like I mentioned before, when you draft a quarterback that high in New York, it's way different than drafting a quarterback that high in Cincinnati or San Diego or any of these places. You are under a microscope from the time you get that hug and dap from Roger Goodell, from the New York media, and from the New York team. And that spotlight could be absolutely daunting and drowning, and it doesn't allow you to breathe. It can suffocate you. And this is, I mentioned on previous podcasts, I felt Zackwilson should have sat out 1 year, watch, and then take over his year 2. Now, what we're seeing right now, between the 2 years of football of his career, he pretty much missed you could say he could miss half the season already. So he's in line. He got his mojo. He got a good arm. What can I say about the New York Jets? I can't complain about him no more. And Robert Saleh, you gotta give credit where credit is due. The man said he wants his receipts. I guess he's working on getting his receipts. So keep doing your thing, Bobby Saleh, and you're gonna get your receipts. Get us to the playoffs. I'll give you your receipts. How does that sound? That's where you get your receipts. Get us to the playoffs this year. Breece Hall, the rookie Breece Hall, is having a phenomenal season. I think it's about time for him to become the starting running back on the team. I know they play him and Michael Carter on the field at the same time, which is a good thing as well. But this guy had total offense, 190, almost 200 yards of total offense. Guys, he had 18 catches for 97 yards and a TD, 2 receptions for 100 yards, which included a 79-yard reception off a wheel route from Zackwilson. Beautiful thrown football by Zackwilson. The defense played great pressure, even though Jermaine Johnson went out with an injury. Kind of worried about that a little bit, but the defense made big plays when they had to. Sauce Gardner got his first interception of his career. He was getting getting teased about not having his interception, but he finally got his interception and get that off the schneid. He did a hell of a job on Waddle. He did a hell of a job on Tyreek Hill. I think the entire defense did that too. It was just him. His entire defense. The game plan was better. They got pressure on the quarterback. They knocked out Teddy Bridgewater on the first play, which caused a safety. So off a Sauce Gardner corner blitz, babe. But let me just remind you, a corner blitz by the draft pick, the first round draft pick of the New York Jets, number 4, Sauce Gardner, caused that. So Sauce Gardner had a great game, a lot to look forward to with the New York Jets and the Giants. The Jets will be playing in next week against the Packers at Lambeau Field. It's going to be a tough matchup. I'm going to tell you guys right now, it's going to be a tough matchup. I think they can win the game, but it all depends how much it can contain Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be an angry diva next week. I'll tell you that right now. When that man gets angry, he becomes more diva-ish. So, I always used to be a big fan of Aaron Rodgers until he started showing his diva ways. He dated some bad women, some bad bitches, from Olivia Munn, Danica Patrick, Shailene Woodley. He dated some hot mamas, man. He just not putting the ring on them fingers. What's going on here? At least not Tom Brady. Tom Brady be putting his marriage on the line to play one more year of football. Hey. Hey, let's move on from that, guys. But on the whole, I'm like the direction both teams are going. And it's happening quicker for the Giants than it is for the Jets. The Giants wasn't expected to do anything this year, and then they stepped up and get started 4-1. They can only go up now. Only go up right now. So we'll see what happens next week with both teams. I'm kind of hoping we can see the Giants go 5-1 and the Jets go 4-2. Let's put that in the air and get that going. All right, so we talk about some great stuff, something to put a smile on your face about. Now the frown is coming. My New York Mets. You know what, guys? To my fellow New York Mets fans, I saw this coming at the Atlanta Braves series. That's what I knew. That they had to win the division, or they were going to get eliminated in the wild card round. By the way, they played against the Atlanta Braves. Not only brought out deficiencies in that team that we did not see the entire season. Yes, this team was relentless, played with a lot of heart, resilient, but long story short, when the lights got brighter, they got real soft. Yes, I'm saying that. They got soft. They became an impatient team, a team that preaches patience throughout the year, working the pitches counts, working the pitches. They didn't do that against the Padres except for Game 2. And ironically, that was the only game they won. That was the only game they won. And with my guy, Jacob deGrom, on the mound. Good old reliable Jacob deGrom. He didn't have his best stuff that night. The Padres were playing gamesmanship with all the Mets pitchers throughout the series. I'm gonna get to the gamesmanship that Buck did later in the podcast. The Padres are purposely stepping out to slow down the rhythm of the New York Mets pitchers, but Jacob deGrom kept his composure. Did not have his best stuff, and gave the Mets 6 innings. Gave up 2 runs. This is a guy, who possibly is pitching his last game as a Met in Citi Field. We hope that does not happen. Just like we hope that Michael Conforto would have not swung at his last pitch in Citi Field, and we saw what happened after that. He's still a free agent because of an injury to his shoulder. I'm hoping for something different for Jacob deGrom. I'm hoping we could re-sign him, but I also hope that he understands that he needs to give a contract that's both fair for him and for the team to put a team around him that could win the World Series. This team is going to be the team is going to change a lot next season. They have a lot of free agents. But you got to give credit to the San Diego Padres. They came in there with that swag. I'm gonna tell you, they were straight up. They were taunting the Mets throughout all 3 games. They were taunting the Mets. The key to the series, guys, was the bottom of the lineups for both teams. The Padres, Profar, the leadoff hitter, was a threat. Josh Bell woke up and got a big hit in game 1. Grisham got a few big hits and some big home runs throughout the series. And Kim was working out some walks. And again, this is what I'm going to tell everybody. I've played baseball. You cannot walk. You cannot give free bases. You got to make these guys get a hit to get on base. And what happened was when every time, especially in game 3, when Kim was walked, he stole a base, and then that's when fundamental baseball came into play. Not analytics with launch angles and home runs. Fundamental baseball, moving the runners over with less than 1 out, and then getting the big 2-out, either big 2-out hit or big 1-out hit. The Padres beat the Mets with straight old school baseball. Not analytics. I'm not a fan of analytics. I hate that shit. The Mets clearly got beat by fundamental baseball. And pitchers, Yudarvish, Joe Musgrove, executed their pitches. It had nothing to do with spin rate or high velocity. Joe Musgrove was hyped. Pitched for his hometown team in the playoffs against the Mets in Citi Field in a raucous crowd. Everybody was talking about Timmy the Trumpet, or the Timmy the Trumpet with Edwin Diaz, and that walk from the bullpen to the mound. I told everybody that shit don't mean nothing unless it's the last 3 outs of a World Series clinching title. And I proved it. That shit don't mean nothing. It was just entertainment. Timmy Trumpet, we don't know of Timmy Trumpet until Edwin Diaz had a great season. Edwin Diaz is also a free agent. The lineup was exposed big time by the Padres. If the Mets was not hitting home runs, they were not scoring any runs. Nimmo got on base sometime. Not as much as I thought he would, but they couldn't get him in. Every time he reached the base, Lindor would either swing at the first curveball he saw, which was what they were doing. Throwing first pitch curveballs. When the Mets had runners to score a position, they would start throwing curveballs, and there you go. Lindor and Alonso was guilty of that too, and swinging at the first breaking ball they saw. Instead of being patient and work the pitcher to get their pitch they need to drive. But I must say, in the defense of Pete Alonso, in the defense of Lindor to a certain degree, they did hit some balls hard, and they were unlucky. Some great defensive plays made by the Padres, from Grisham to Profar, and Soto was magnificent and on the field. He wasn't damaging with the bat as much, but he made some great defensive plays out there in right field. Give credit to Manny Machado as well, even though he was doing some taunting too. He was doing a whole lot of talking. But then again, when you're playing against a soft team, you'll get away with that. I'm gonna give you guys a very big opinion about what I saw in the whole series. For me, if I was a pitcher on that mound, and if I'm a pitcher on that mound, and I'm understanding and seeing what the Padres batters was doing as far as stepping out and disrupting my rhythm, you know what I was going to do? I was going to bean one of them to get their ass back I'm going to bean them. to get their ass right back in that batter's box, to stay in that batter's box. The Mets, and throughout this fucking wild card series, were scared to pitch inside. The only time I saw them get inside was when Drew Smith came in the game. That's the only time. And Diaz too. Diaz threw one, gave some chin music yesterday. Yeah. Not the starters. Scherzer didn't pitch inside enough. DeGrom didn't pitch inside enough. DeGrom threw a lot of pitches because he was nibbling. And this is not the DeGrom we know. DeGrom comes after batters. He throwing that heat. Was he probably fatigued because he started so late in the season? Was it his elbow? He does have a small tear in his ulnar tendon in his elbow. Did that freak come up a little bit? We don't know. But Max Scherzer was a disappointment. He got paid $43 million a year for this moment. And game one, he got bombed out. He got bombed. Excuse me. He got bombed. Was it the oblique? Maybe. But he was getting teed off too. Like his pitches was on a T-ball stick, and they were just hitting off the tee. Again, the series was not lost by the bullpen. It was lost by the starting pitching. Plus, you have a bottom of the lineup with Eduardo Escobar, Nito, and whoever was a DH in that bottom lineup. Whether it was Ruff, who should not even been given the opportunity to hit. I would have taken my chance with Alvarez, the rookie. Would have taken my chance with Alvarez. Long story short, after hindsight being 2020, I would have taken my chance with the rookie. You know, I wouldn't say the Mets was outmanaged. I just honestly believe that the compared to two teams they were severely outplayed. Severely outplayed. They came in there looking scared, especially the starting pitching. And Bassett, he got rattled. After the perfect first inning, he got rattled. He's a free agent too. In an elimination game, the Mets only got one hit. The first team in history in a deciding game to have less than 2 hits in an elimination in a deciding game. This team is supposed to be all-world offense throughout the season. Supposed to be. But I knew there was holes. I knew there were holes since the beginning of the season. It was because of the managing of Buck Showalter. This team won 100 games. Mark Canha did not do nothing in this series. McNeil was probably the only one. McNeil and Nimmo actually did something during the series. And I have to give a pass to Starling Marte, because he hit some balls hard. But great defense didn't allow him to be on the field, did not be on base. But he had some hard shots. And again, him being lost for all those games towards the end of the season because he got hit by a pitch that broke his finger. Again, each time a Mets team is good, they're always close to the top of the league of being hit by pitches. And I don't know why. The Padres were so comfortable in that batter's box, it was not even funny. They were like couch potatoes in the batter's box. They were too comfortable. That's why they got all those hits. They scored 7 runs they scored 7 runs in the deciding game. They scored about 7 runs in the first game. And they played against I'm going to say right now, the Mets were soft. I would never thought I would say that. But this team was soft. And guess what's going to happen? These guys didn't play with a sense of urgency. You're not going to win 100 games every season. This team was only built for 1 year. The team that they put on the field for this year was only for 1 year. Nearly every key guy that was on the roster this year is a free agent. You got DeGrom, Diaz, Bassett, Nimmo, Taiwan Walker, Cookie Carrasco. All going to be free agents. I'm going to get into it. I felt Billy Epler during the trading deadline did not do a good enough job to get some real bats in that lineup. Maybe it was best to stay pat. Looking back on it, maybe it's best to keep J.D. Davis. Maybe it was best to keep Don Smith up here because Vogelbach and Ruff gave me nothing. You got some short, fat, left-handed hitting player in DH who's batting 238. And that's a big acquisition because he hits home runs. That's the problem. This is the messed up fucking mentality of analytics. They look for the home run instead of getting guys who can connect, who are contact hitters, get on base, and do situational hitting. That's not analytics. That's called fundamental old school baseball. I get it. We need analytics in the baseball games. I do understand that. But when you rely on that shit too much, you're going to lose. And they got beat by a team who played old school baseball. They played old school baseball when they had to. They got to walk, stole second base, bunt the play over third base. You got 1 out. All you have to do is get a sac fly. Except only difference was the San Diego Padres didn't get sac flies. They got singles and doubles. It kept the wheel going. I just want you guys to I know I got laughed at. I posted this on Facebook and Instagram about a picture of Michael Conforto. I got laughed at. I heard side jokes about maybe we should sign this guy, some old guy. You guys want to pop jokes, but guess what? You're not real Mets fans. Because with with his bat in that lineup, it creates 2 things: a fear factor. A fear factor. Yes. Michael Conforto puts more fear in pitchers than at least 3 or 4 guys in our current lineup. Okay. You would have been able to put Marcana as the right-handed hitting DH and the 4th outfielder had you signed Michael Conforto. I understand he had a shoulder injury. He hurt his shoulder during a workout while he was trying to work out for some teams. I understand that. I get it. But when you offer a homegrown player just a qualifying offer and don't sit down and have a serious conversation about contracts, fuck his agent. I don't give a fuck about Scott Boras. But that was a homegrown player. You treat him with some respect and offer and try to negotiate a contract, not a qualifying offer to get a fucking draft pick if he doesn't get signed. That's disrespectful. That shows as an organization you did not want this player. And this is a player who understands the bright lights of playoff baseball. This is a guy who hit 2 home runs in the World Series. Against the Kansas City Royals. 2 home runs. And had a decent World Series. But you Met fans who were laughing at me, Papa jokes about when I posted about Michael Conforto, you want to sit there and push Darren Ruff and Vogelsbach in my fucking face. That's what you guys did. And guess what happened? We're going home. 101 win team going home. In a season where they were favored to be in the World Series. That's what you don't get. All your laughter at me when I posted Michael Conforto's picture. You didn't see what I was seeing. Hell, I saw Daniel Murphy at the Old Timers game. He could have done a better job hitting the ball than fucking half that lineup against that Padres pitching. Say what you want. I'm about to tag Michael Conforto on his Instagram. I'm about to tag Daniel Murphy on his Instagram. Watch when I do that. 2 bats that it could have made a difference in this series and in this season. I don't give a damn if they were hurt. I don't give a damn if they're retired. But what was your comeback? What was your response to that, guys? Vogelbach and Ruff? And yes, we got to improve the catcher's position. We got to get more offense from the catcher's position. I love Thomas Nido. I love him. He knows how to call a game. He throws runners out. But James McCann, no way. No way. It's time for the Mets. Wilson Contreras I believe, is a free agent from the Cubs. It's time to look at that. Look at that player for that catcher's position. Don't you find it funny? All 5 starting pitchers of the Mets from 2015 were in the playoffs this year. Actually, I'm bad. Yeah. You could say that. Even though Wheeler was hurt during 2015, but 5 of the Mets' top 6 starting pitchers were all on playoff teams this year. Steve Matz with the Cardinals, Syndergaard and Wheeler in the Phillies. And guess what? The Phillies are playing in the National Division Series. Against the Braves. The third place team is still in the playoffs. They earned that. They beat the Cardinals. They earned that spot in the National League Division Series. Kudos to the Phillies right now. Gotta give a shout out to Philadelphia. I got a bunch of family in Philadelphia. I got mad love for Philadelphia because my fans live there. So I'm probably, if I'm gonna watch the playoffs this year for the rest of the season, I'm probably gonna watch the Phillies. So I can't see myself watching the Yankees all over again. And what we're gonna hope to get Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge does not solve the problems. It'll get people in the seats, but not going to solve the problems as far as the Mets go. The Mets need a deep lineup. A deep, well-rounded lineup. Like the Braves. That's where the Braves kicked our ass. Because not only their lineup is well-rounded and deep, they're still young. The Braves are not going away. Okay? We're here to keep up with the Braves now. So let me get into, like I mentioned, they didn't pitch inside enough. Again, I just believe I'm not a Jeremy Hefner did a better job with the pitching staff this year, but I think they can get a better pitcher coach than him. I'm just saying. Just saying. 101 and 61, and the Mets are going home. The last 100 win Met team that didn't make it to the World Series was 1988 New York Mets. A team that was heavily favored to not go to the World Series, but to win it. This is two big disappointments. Matter of fact, I'm gonna have to. If Keith Hernandez got an Instagram, I may tag him too. Watch my podcast, Keith, Ron. Watch my podcast. I'm going to go ham on this, people. I'm going to go ham. Because these guys, this team, took it for granted. I honestly believe they took it for granted. That's just my opinion. I believe this team totally took it for granted. That's why they're going home. I could give a damn about how resilient they were during the season. But when the lights get brighter, you got to be even more resilient. Otherwise, you'll be looked upon as being taking shit for granted. And this is exactly what it looks like. I hate too many comparisons about Francisco Lindor and Jose Reyes. I keep hearing that. Francisco Lindor is a good player. But Jose Reyes could change the game on his own by just getting on base. Fuck the power numbers. Steal some bases and score. Score runs. Score runs and be a distraction to the pitcher. That's what you're supposed to do. I understand Lindor and Jose Reyes are two different players. But you saw what that guy Kim did when he got on base. The game changed. The game changed. The way the game is played changes so differently for the Padres. They went from playing analytical baseball to fundamental old school baseball. Walk, get to second base via steal, bunt the man over. You expect a sacrifice fly? No, the Padres got ground rule doubles or singles. Or for Met pitch, you was scared to pitch inside. They didn't rattle the cages enough. And this San Diego Padre team was fucking taunting the fuck out of the Mets. Taunting the Mets the entire fucking series. And they made mention about it was a Bush League move by Buck Showalter to have Musgrove checked for slicky substances, checking his ears, all that shit. Someone had to do something to give a response to the Padres. They were hot dogging us all throughout Citi Field. Laughing at us, each trying to get a strikeout, they're yelling, yeah. And to the point that if that don't wake you up as a baseball team that want to go out there and beat them, you're soft. I know if I was playing, I couldn't wait to get back to the batters to the batters box. Ain't nobody gonna fucking yell and say yeah and show me off in my own stadium. No way, no how. That's not happening. That's not happening. I'm just caught up in my fucking disappointment, guys. If I'm cursing a lot, yeah, I'm cursing a whole fucking lot. So I'm disappointed. I expected this team to be in LA right now. This team should be going to LA. And guess what? It's not. They were soft. Okay? The lineup was not as good as we thought they were. They're most likely a good regular season lineup, but they're not a good postseason lineup. 3, Scherzer didn't show up when he had to, and Bassett got rattled when some small stepping out of the batter's box type shit. He couldn't find himself after that. And this is a guy you want to resign and make him your third pitcher? Where do the Mets go from here? In my opinion, number one priority is to resign Jacob deGrom. People. I know Joe Beningo's going to disagree with me, but signing Jacob deGrom is number one priority. And Edwin Diaz, priority number 1A. Those two must be re-signed. And then I want Nimmo to be re-signed. Those are the top three for me. As if I was Billy Epler, that's my top three priority as a general manager. Re-sign those three guys. Bassett could wait. You know why Bassett could wait? Because there's a guy in Philadelphia who signed a 1-year contract to prove it, and he didn't want to pitch against the Mets when it was her start in the rotation when he's with the Phillies. That man wants to come back to the Mets, and we need somebody like that on that Mets pitching staff. A guy that says, "Yo, we like." But I don't know what he said in the World Series about something about the footage for the mound and all types of crap. That's the type of motherfucker we need on the team. And then you gotta find a way to do two things. Find a way to get yourself a everyday left fielder, a big bat hitting left fielder, and go from there. If it's Aaron Judge, listen, I honestly don't believe we could all be in our dreams about Aaron Judge. When I see it happen, I'll believe it. But I don't think there's no way in hell that Hal and Hank Steinbrenner is going to let Aaron Judge sign with the Mets. No way in hell. But there's another option. And he sat out the entire year and also played for us. He won number 30. I mentioned him early in the podcast. Put him in left field. Sign that man, put him in left field, and you have Mark Canha as fourth outfielder and right-handed hitting DH. Solves that problem. You get a deeper lineup, deeper left-handed hitting lineup. You get protection for Pete Alonso. Do I say maybe they just need to upgrade third base too? Because without that September, Eduardo Escobar did not have a good season. Yeah, he hit 20 home runs. Yeah, he had some big home runs. But he was small in the playoffs. And that's what matters. Disappointing performance of the New York Mets. I'm about to tag everybody. Fuck it. I don't give a fuck. If I can get Ron Darling or Keith Hernandez on my podcast, I'm going to do it. Let's get it. I want to talk to them. I'll put Gary Cole on there. Buckshowalter did what I did. I agree with him checking him and all that stuff. I felt that was the timing of it was kind of suspect. Not kind of, it was suspect. But I honestly understand why he did it. Someone had to respond for all the histrionics that the Padres are doing throughout the game and throughout the series. The cockiness and the sneers that they were doing in the series. Someone had to respond. The players sure wasn't not doing it. So, guys, hope you enjoyed this podcast. Please, if you have any comments on this podcast, please jot it down on the comments. I probably would want. I'm probably going to be doing a part 2 to this. I'm not sure yet. Probably will do a part 2 to this. Anybody who wants to join me on a podcast for a part 2, please let me know. We'll get it done. We'll get it done. I got more to say, but I'm going to end the podcast right here because I'm going to be cursed through. I'm going to be cursed some more. So go watch this podcast on my YouTube channel, and also on my Twitch TV channel as well. You can listen to the podcast on JoeyG Radio, Anchor, Spreaker, Spotify, IHeart Radio, SoundCloud, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and any other platforms that takes podcasts. I am also on those as well. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, it's your man Big Dom. I'm going to sign off on this podcast till next week when we recap Giants versus Ravens and Jets versus Packers. Peace, people.